And first of all, I want to thank Al Amen, the best manager in the world.
He's the fucking champion of the world! Miguel, man!
The 17th edition of the Nuthouse podcast brought to you by boxandsalem.com. I'm your host Andy Parson. With me today I've got Alex Morris, Tommy Allen, the boss man, and Kurt Ward. No Adam Smith this week. He's decided that he wants to take a Sky week to go and watch El Clasico, Barcelona, Real Madrid. And Steve Wellens needs to put in the time to cover the hot seat for the next 2 weeks at work. So thanks for that, Steve. We'll see you next week, mate. Gentlemen, not much in terms of action again this week, but the one fight that seems to be getting eyed up, Nathan Cleverly versus Jürgen Bremer, after Bremer forced Robin Krasnicki's corner to pull him out at the end of the 9th round, just before the start of the 10th anyway. Showed some balls there, Krasnicki, and had relevant success, but ultimately just couldn't cope with the power of Bremer. Whenever Krasnicki found a way to punches, and he did jolt Bremer at times, but he started to tire him at the 6th round, I think it was, and then he was hurt numerous times in 7th and 8th, and finally in the 9th round Bremer got him with a breakthrough, and that's after catching Krasnicki with a right hand that sent him into over the ring into the ropes and forced a mandatory 8 count. But he managed to gut it out to the end of the 8th round, but bad cut across the top of the right lip as well. But in all honesty, I don't think Krasnicki really had the power, Tommy, if you saw the fight, mate, to really kind of put a dent in Bremer anyway, because it just seemed to be, even though Bremer got jolted a few times, he was willing to come back, he was willing to take a shot, and when he landed, he did land with more interest than what Krasnicki did.
I've not actually saw the fight yet.
Fuck's sake, you fucking part-timer.
I was working last night.
You know watching? No, I said to you last night about watching the fight.
I was night shift, remember when you messaged me?
You said to me last night that you were going to watch it when you got home.
I didn't think up to like, I've been sleeping by the floor all day, so I usually watch the fights on Monday morning, eh?
That's no use for the night though, mate. Kurt, mate, you take it up.
Yeah, to be honest, I wasn't really looking forward to this,
Decent enough you scrap.
but yeah, it turned out alright. I mean, it was largely one-sided, I thought. Krasnicki had his moments, but that left hand from Bremer just hurt him whenever it landed. I mean, he couldn't really miss with it, and when it landed, Krasnicki felt it, and he was hurt, numerous times the last count, to be honest. But Bremer was taking some shots as well. I mean, it was an entertaining, if not one-sided fight. I know they're setting up the Cleverly Bremer fight. I think that was originally supposed to happen in, was it 2011? It was the card which had DeGale Groves on it, wasn't it? And I actually thought it was a really good fight then. I fancied Cleverly then, and I actually still think it's a good fight for where both of them are right now. But people see that the bout's on the line, that bogus bout, and I think it's more the fact that they know that the Sky Pipe machine is going to go into overdrive, and they're going to be talking. And we've already had Glenn McCrory, suggesting that Jurgen Breimer could be the best 175 pounder in the world, and that's the problem. But if you take that bout away, I think that fight's a really good fight for where they are. And I thought after the Bellew fight that cleverly he might just retire, but I think he's still sniffing the paydays, and he knows that a win over Breimer could get him into a position to fight Adonis Stevenson, who he's
Kovalev again. That'll be fucking interesting.
Yeah, I don't think he'll go near Kovalev again, but with Stevenson, not really, crammed with options for opponents, he could see Cleverly as an opponent if he could get past Breimer. So I think that's the way they're looking at it. But with Cleverly, you just don't know where he's at. I mean, he's got the beating to Kovalev, he's piled on the weight, he's come back down. It's never a good look, I think, when a boxer goes back down anyway, especially a big jump like this. But yeah, I mean, to be honest, like I said, I fancied Cleverly then, but now I'd fancy Breimer, to be honest. I just don't think that Cleverly's stamina will be the same. His output, he's not going to hurt Breimer, and Breimer can hurt him. But I think it's a really good fight, and I think Breimer showed yesterday that he can be an exciting fighter to watch. He'll let his hands go. He's a tough guy, and I thought it was a good one-sided fight, to be honest.
See, to be honest, Kurt, going back in 2011, I remember doing a wee preview for that potential fight when just before it got cancelled anyway. I actually backed Breimer back then, actually. I just think that the guy's just certifiable, he's just a maniac. So I say he'll take a shot to even just get into range. I think if anything, Cleverly needs to kind of keep it at distance and probably just, try and make him work at a pace, because he likes to kind of keep his own distance, Breimer, and basically kind of like work at his own speed. But did you notice last night, about Cleverly? He didn't look as chunky there last night on that studio performance. Yeah,
well, the thing is, he piled on the weight, but he looked really good at cruiserweight. Obviously, it didn't suit him. We saw that in the ring. But, he's obviously an athlete, as he said himself, so I think he'll get down to the weight, and on the scales he'll look fine, but we won't know until he's in the ring. I mean, Breimer's been at this weight for a long time, and when you've got a guy moving up, like I said, is he just doing it now because he believes he can, still have a good career at the weight, or is it just because, he's going after the paydays? To me, he only went up to cruiserweight because he knew that the Bellew payday was there, and, win or lose, he's getting a good payday, but now he's gone back down just maybe to, like I said earlier, about getting that Stevenson fight. But I think obviously they set it up for that, Breimer to win. I think Cleverly's having a comeback fight next month maybe, and that'll be against no one of note. It's a bit like his move up to cruiserweight. We won't know anything about Cleverly until he's in the ring against someone against Breimer, to be honest, because as we saw when he moved up to cruiserweight, he fought two guys who weren't really threatening, and he had it easy. But in the Bellew fight, he basically did nothing for most of the fight, but the last 6 rounds he just stood on the ropes because he couldn't move, basically.
I think the thing with Nathan is, after he lost the Kovalev fight, he was talking retirement. So how dedicated is he to the sport right now? I'm not really sure if his heart's in the game. So if it was Nathan Cleverly pre-Kovalev, I think I'd pick him comfortably to beat Breimer. I think, but I'm not sure. Is he going to put the hours in the gym and that? Because Cleverly he could go hard for 12 rounds, but I'm not sure that he's putting that sort of work in now, and I would be hesitant to pick him against any top fighter at the moment until I see him get in there and prove it. But as I say, he's Cleverly, he's at his very best, definitely beats Breimer for me.
Nowadays, Alex, would you back Cleverly to even hurt Breimer at all?
Well, no, I mean, you wouldn't really do that back in the day anyway. I mean, Cleverly was never really a hard puncher necessarily. He was, just a volume puncher, wasn't he? He liked to throw a lot of punches every single round. He liked to mix it up when arguably he really shouldn't have done, because like I say, he wasn't a power puncher. He liked getting in those little digs and those little wars, which probably was the downfall against Kovalev, obviously. But the Kovalev fight was obviously a place on his part. Definitely, I think the fact that his confidence and in taking that fight was so misplaced, and he got completely shattered, and obviously got completely smashed up by Kovalev. And ever since then, I just think that Nathan's not bothered. I think that he's half decent at boxing, and he knows he can get quite a lot of money out of it, and it's an easy payday for him to chase after these fights against Bellew or Breimer, and he won't necessarily take too much of a beating, because Breimer for all the mad about him, and he seems like an hard bastard. He's really not going to hurt Nathan, I don't think. I think that he's not that good of a boxer, especially last night. He showed that, Krasniqi, we saw how Nathan really took him apart a couple of years ago. And Bravo, he struggled a couple of times, but he got hit by so many shots. Big right hands from Krasniqi, just got through constantly. And you really can't be impressed with him after that. I mean, he won, but he was supposed to. Krasniqi's nothing, Krasniqi was widely condemned as an opponent for Cleverly. I mean, I know it was a mandatory for Nathan at the time, but it was still just normal and even there. So he wasn't great. So I think that Cleverly is a bit.
Alex, we'll get interference on your end, mate. We'll be interference here, mate. You're kind of breaking in and out a little bit. Try again.
Hello. Is it going any better?
Try again, mate.
Hello. Yeah.
Nah, it's going to be a feedback off you there, mate.
Alright, we'll carry on.
So see the thing about Dublin Braver, man, he's a bit of freak of nature. He started to do it, I think, as a lightweight in the amateurs. I know he fought Ricky Hatton at welterweight. He put Hatton to sleep in at welterweight, so he's made a big jump up through the weight classes.
The thing is, though, he has been mixing roundabouts. I wouldn't say world level, but he's been mixing roundabout at fringe world level, I would say. I mean, probably his opponent last night was probably a step up in class from like Pete the Pole that he smashed in 30 odd seconds in his last fight.
The thing with Brymer, though, I saw a lot of people saying how heavy-handed he is because he was hurting Krasniqi at will. But I keep thinking back to the Enzo Macronelli fight, and I don't recall him hurting Macronelli once, and he was landing punches on him quite at will. Like, we know Enzo hasn't got the greatest defence. I know, Enzo's eye really came up and he looked in a bad way, but he didn't really hurt him or stun him or even wobble him at once during their fight. So I'm not sure. Is it Krasniqi's just punch resistance? He's going into the Cleverly fight. I mean, before the Kovalev fight, you'd say Cleverly can take a punch, but you don't know what his chin's been. If it's been cracked or not, because Ballieu didn't really tell us anything because he didn't land anything of real note on Cleverly. But I think Brymer will land, but I'm not sure how big of a puncher he is, to be honest.
Tommy, do you think Eddie Hearn's going to get this fight in the UK for Cleverly, or do you think he'll chase the money, as Alec probably said? He's looking to some more paydays. He'll take him to Germany for a better one.
I would think the fight would probably be in Germany. It's hard to. Nathan's not really got fan bases. There's no big arenas down in Wales, and can that fight really be made outside Wales, or will be Cleverly and Brymer top the I don't think so. I think it's a fight that really has to go over to Germany and do well over there. Unless they put it, maybe they make a new undercard, but it's Eddie Hearn's. As far as Eddie Hearn's concerned, that's not really hard, is it?
Yeah, I think. With this fight though, Brymer's not exactly like a star in Germany. That's the problem. He's not like a Felix Sturm, Abraham, and I think they could get him over here, but I think it'd have to be on a good card, like maybe Lee Selby, headlining or on the card. I don't think they just bring him over here and that could be the headline fight, to be honest, because Cleverly's not really a big ticket seller himself. So and Eddie Hearn likes these big fights in the arenas. He likes to sell the stadium out. He doesn't like to do it in like a little, the Malta Point in Wales, it only holds about 5,000, so I can't see it being there. So he's going to want to put a few guys like he's doing with this May 30 card with Kevin Mitchell and Lee Selby on it. So I think it could happen here, to be honest.
What I think they should do is maybe they put Bellew and Hook at the top of the bill, and they put Cleverly against Brymer maybe as the chief attraction to the fight.
It's just Hook's not with Salon now, though. That's the thing.
Oh, I saw neither is. Where do they leave him?
He's formed his own Hook Promotions, hasn't he? So he's trying to. He wants to. I mean, he's still going to be at cruiserweight, but apparently the reason he wanted to move was because he wanted to get the Klitschko fight. So I don't know how long he's going to stay there. But I think they're talking about Hernandez for Ballieu. So obviously Hearn will say they want Hernandez and can get him over here, but whether they will or not, I mean, that's a tougher ask.
Yeah, I think that. How's my sound doing?
That's fine, mate. I
was going to say about possibly being on the Selby undercard. They're on about Clev fighting again for the title in September. obviously Selby's got his world title fight in end of May, so I think that if Selby wins that, and I rate him two actually, I think that they could have that, Selby's first defence and Cleverly on the undercard against Bramer in Wales, and that would probably sell quite well. I think, two world title fights. I know Selby and Cleverly aren't exactly big names even in Wales, but you'd think that the best promoter in Europe, as many people call him, should be able to sell that.
Yeah, I mean, you got to remember as well, even when the first fight was going to happen, and that was Cleverly fighting for the world title, it was basically DeGale and Groves shifting the tickets, and even when that fight fell through because Bramer just had one of his mad turns, the fight still went ahead, the DeGale Groves, and they still sold out the whatever it was, 20,000. So, and I don't think Cleverly's really came on much in that time because he was fighting on Bucks Nation, and he hasn't really been on big bills really. So, and obviously the Cleverly value rematch, that I don't think that'll get him many fans. So I definitely think he needs some support, but I think Bramer's one of the German guys they can get over here.
That being the case, guys, we're not going to want to spend a lot of time on this. Give me your final predictions. I mean, I dare say we'll discuss it nearer the time if it does happen. But Alex, Tommy, then Kurt, give me your prediction. Bramer or Cleverly, if that fight happens, I'm siding with Bramer.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you. I think Bramer.
Tommy?
At this moment in time, I'd probably pick Bramer.
You see that pipe the wee bit depressed there, mate. Alex?
Yeah, I came around quite liking Cleverly, but I think Mad Bramer probably beats him and probably knocks him out.
It's probably the safe pick to go with Bramer, isn't it? You don't know if Nathan's going to turn up or not.
Moving on, just a wee bit of news coming through. I think Arthur Beterbiev has been trying to kind of rile up Sergey Kovalev. Now, if you're like Ismail Salak or Bernard Hopkins or Jean Pascal, it's not really a good move to even attempt that shit. It's just basically, Beterbiev is going on about obviously these two wins that he's got over Kovalev in the amateurs, etc. And obviously Kovalev's mentioned that he was fighting corruption in Beterbiev's hometown, etc. and stuff. So he's just basically saying is that Beterbiev's misleading the people. He says, first he needs to earn a fight with me, then I'll punish you. And no more wishful thinking. As of today, you even refused to fight Chilemba, and that shows that you were scared. Scared fighting Chilemba? Well, let's see who beats him at the start of the day, though, Alex. But listen, I'm really looking forward to that fight. I mean, hopefully it does. I think we discussed it last week, Kurt. I don't think you were really too keen on the fight happening straight away. I mean, maybe no earned the fight yet. I think obviously Beterbiev steamrolls through, what do you call him, Campillo. I think, why not, make the fight. The guy's 30-year-old.
I think Beterbiev really needs I think he's 3 fights away from that. I'd like to see him fight Campillo, maybe somebody like Isaac Chilemba, and then obviously got a big fight like maybe Pascal or somebody, then going with Kovalev.
Yeah, he's a couple of fights away, isn't he, really, just from making his name known. I think Kovalev's right on about the point that he needs to earn his shot almost. He stood onto the scene with that Tavoris Cloud knockout, and just a few more and I think he'll be there. Obviously, if he keeps trying to wind Kovalev up, then it'll make the fight happen a bit sooner, because we know Kovalev is a bit of a nasty bastard and he won't put up with Beterbiev's bullshit and winding him up. So I think that, we're fortunate that Kovalev is the sort of will these fights to take on anyway. So that fight is a very distinct possibility.
Kurt, mate, I know you're kind of keeping us up to date with the El Clasico scores and stuff. It's kind of hard going here, but give me your take. You did say you still standing by your comment last week that you want to see Beterbiev earn that shot, or he's not ready for that fight yet.
Yeah, it's not so much earning. It's just, I think, if they announce that fight next, I'd look forward to it. But it'd just be good to create a bit more hype to it. To have him blast out Campillo and maybe fight someone else after that. I mean, if he does a job on that guy, I think that makes a big statement, because we know he's a good boxer, and he's gone straight in there against level guys like, I mean, even Cloud, the way he just dealt with him, that was impressive. But it's one of those fights that if he goes in with Kovalev and Kovalev beats him, I don't think many will give him that much. They'll just say, well, yeah, he had a good amateur career, but he hasn't done nothing in the pros yet. It's there's no rush. I just think, it's not like we're gonna have to wait years for it. I just think a couple more fights just to really get the everyone excited for the fight. A bit like how it was with Kovalev and Stevenson. How we got to the point where, both of them were winning and both of them were looking impressive. And it just got to the point where even now we still really want to see that fight. So a couple more wins away, and I think everyone will want to see it.
It's fair enough. Also, there's been some talk this week. I think there was a big lengthy interview with Vasily Lomachenko on the Ring Magazine website. A couple of interesting comments here about a potential, or the talk of a fight with Guillermo Rigondeaux. I did see Gary Hyde on Facebook last night saying that, for instance, that Lomachenko weighed in 125 pounds for his last fight, so he should be able to make 124 pounds at a catch weight. I think we were pretty clear in our first podcast back in January, as Alex, that Rigondeaux, I really don't want to see him up at featherweight. I don't think he should be hanging there. He's given up a lot of size and stuff. I think Lomachenko's laying fat to that as well. And the other thing as well is he actually wants to respect the weight categories. He isn't really interested in catchweight fights. Give me your take on this. Basically, talk now that this fight isn't really going to happen at any point.
Yeah, it's quite disappointing to hear that, that's pretty much put the nail in the coffin for that fight, that we probably won't see it. The fact that Lomachenko doesn't want to go down to the catchweight. And you can sort of respect that decision. A lot of us do slate catchweights a lot. And, for good reason. I think a lot of the time they are pointless, and a lot of the time it's just to, extract some sort of advantage over your opponent. But sometimes they can be useful. Sometimes they can make some of these super fights happen, like this one. And I think that Rigondeaux is obviously far too small for featherweight. We've seen that when he actually fought a full-size featherweight against Amagasa, and the size difference was just monstrous. I mean, he's small against super bantamweights, let alone the featherweights. And Lomachenko would be absolutely huge against him at the full weight. Even at, I think, 122 or 124, whatever the catch weight they wanted it to be, Lomachenko would still have a massive height and weight advantage. So I'm quite disappointed that fight is pretty much off the table now, but I can understand why that is.
Yeah, just basically saying that he'll never come down in weight, Lomachenko. Says, I already came down in my current weight class in the Olympics. How much can I really go down? Dave, I think we've basically got confirmation that this Rigondeaux-Lomachenko fight is never going to happen. So, obviously, we've discussed last week what we want to see Lomachenko do. The gates for all fights for Rigondeaux all seem to be slamming shut in front of him just now, didn't they?
Yeah, it's an unfortunate thing, but nothing's really changed in that department. I was never really high on the Lomachenko fight because I think he's too big for him. I mean, I know it would be easy to hype up with like the two potentially greatest amateurs of all time, but we'll see what happens. I don't think Rigo's ever going to get the chance he deserves.
I had a discussion on Twitter not long ago about Rigondeaux moving up in weight. A lot of people think that he's near the top of the sport. So if he's near the top of the sport, obviously Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather are constantly fighting guys at 20 pounds heavier than them. Why can't Rigondeaux move up in class and do the same? Why can he do that and go through the weights? I'm not talking about moving up to lightweight or that, but maybe moving up to featherweight. That's no beyond the stretch, is it?
Well, it makes a far bigger difference at these lower weights, though, doesn't it? I mean, it is 15 and 20 pounds difference, and like you say, Pacquiao and Floyd are fighting guys sometimes. I wouldn't say 20 pounds difference. What was the difference between Floyd and Canelo? That was probably the greatest difference, wasn't it? Floyd was
171 when he fought Manny Pacquiao.
Clotty, yeah, but he did fuck all in the end, didn't he? I mean, you want someone who's actually doing something, and obviously it matters a lot more at the lower weights. From going from say 118 up to 140 or 147 is even going up higher than that, or 135 or whatever. It's massive, and we saw that in the Amagasa fight, and I think that really put the spotlight on how small Rigondeaux is and how difficult it is for him going up these weights.
Kurt, you seem to be coming from a different angle here, mate. You actually said that you think Lomachenko's, I'm reading your comments anyway, he's probably ducking the fight.
Yeah, I think he's being quite clever. If he comes out and just says, I don't want to fight Rigondeaux because the money reason, people will just say, oh, you're being a bitch, you're pulling that excuse out. But by saying what he said, I like weight categories, you know, I'm traditional, I like all this bollocks. People say, oh well, fair play to him, you know, he's sticking to it. The fact is, the catch weight would be what, 124. I think Rigondeaux, yeah, in all likelihood, he'd rather stay at the weight or a bit lower. But if that's what it's going to take to get this fight, he'd have to do it. I mean, we know he's desperate for a name opponent, and I just think Lomachenko, in reality, just like everyone else, they see it as a really tough fight, and they're not going to make a huge amount of money doing it. It's not like the guy's a cash cow or anything. Even if Lomachenko beats Rigondeaux, even if you think he'd beat Rigondeaux, he's not going to look good doing it. I don't think anyone would look good against Rigondeaux, even if they win. And you know, I just think he's pulling out this excuse, and he doesn't want that fight.
Well, Rigondeaux is, you'd spark him out. So I think that if you are him, you will look good beating him, because you'd obviously have to land that punch and put him down for good. Obviously, no one, I think, outboxes him. I don't think even Lomachenko would outbox him, apart from maybe, you know, utilising that size advantage that he's got and just sort of out hustling him and out muscling him, basically. So I think that, you know, it's still a fight that I think needs to happen. You know, obviously from a standpoint, it's very like Lomachenko exposure on the main card as well. Yeah, doesn't he? So I think he's starting to.
Alex, your sound is again down again, mate. You're kind of going in and out again, mate.
It's not the mic. It's more the connection. It sounds like.
Try and fix your connection there, mate. But obviously, Rigondeaux. I mean, I think you look at a point now, as I think we mentioned the Gary Hyde about the potential Yamanaka fight, but they are looking at Shingo Wake possibly next. But it's slim pickings just now for Rigondeaux. I really don't know what's going to happen with it all. I mean, depends on Donaire looks coming back into his fight. If there's a potential rematch here, who knows?
Yeah, and if Lomachenko doesn't fight Rigondeaux, which he's not going to, I want to see Lomachenko fight Walters. That's the fight to make for me.
Yeah, we said that last week as well, mate, that we wanted to see that fight happening for, well, hopefully for all the belts, but generally speaking for the consensus number one at 126. But obviously you've got Johnny Gonzalez. He's fighting next week, is he not? Who's he fighting?
Gary Russell.
That's the one.
Fight. But
decent fight that, yeah. And apparently Gonzalez is already on the weight. Just news coming out of the Philippines just now. Ray Loreto. Now some people might remember that I put this guy up for knockout of 2014 against Nuthouse Joy of South Africa. He's just won the rematch by a first round knockout there, so I'll need to try and get a copy of that fight anywhere. Just moving on, guys, to the Twitter questions. What we got? Quite a few Twitter questions in this week, and it's going to bode as well for the fact that we've got no action to discuss. Just to let the listeners know, is we'll have a Thursday show again next week. Dave, you going to be around next Thursday, mate?
Possibly. If I'm there, I'll be on.
Right, because we need to get the Yanks in and get the previews done for the following week. First question goes in for Daniel Vano. Alex, who is the second best light heavyweight in the world behind Bremer? Following his fantastic win last night. Hashtag McCroryisms.
How's my sound doing?
Yeah, that's fine, mate, yeah.
Oh, that's a tough one, isn't it? I mean, Bremer is obviously number one, and then maybe Krasniqi would be number two. He did perform very well last night. We've got to look at Enzo Mack. Yeah, he gave a really good hard time to Bremer as well.
Danny McIntosh.
Yeah, Bremer is the gold standard at the moment, so we've got to compare everyone to him. Obviously Isaac Chilemba, because who beats Isaac Chilemba? It's a tough one. It really is a tough one.
Is this, are we rating over Mackenzie at light heavyweight or cruiserweight?
He's up at cruiserweight now, isn't
yeah.
he? He's trying to get a world title fight up there.
Tommy Lee Davis is asking, is Joshua being mismanaged this year? I think Kingpin a walkover. Why pull it off till May 30th? He should fight White or Price.
I think that
take him rounds.
That's a good measure. They can take him rounds, and obviously the forces of stoppage, that's a big statement. I think it's a decent fight for Joshua, but I'd like to see the David Price or Million White fights afterwards.
I agree with the person asking that question. I think it's been a long time coming now. I mean, it was cancelled, fair enough. Then put him in with somebody else. I mean, I don't want to see this fight that much anyway. It was just sort of a gradual build up here that we're getting to, and then I just want to see him sink or swim. I don't care for this.
The ideal fight for me would have been Derek Chisora, but obviously Derek's with Frank Malone, so it's not going to happen, is it?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see the Price fight just to see a knockout, and the Dillian White stuff does seem to be, there's something brewing under him. We've said it before. There's something really I must say about Joshua about that one. He really wants to do some damage here.
I think Kingpin Johnson is a fine fight, and I think these are the guys you need. You need guys like Marius Wack, guys who are known for being durable. They might not be that great. They're not going to beat Joshua unless they land like a crazy punch, but they're going to take him rounds, and that's what we never really saw that with Deontay Wilder, and still still there's a lot of questions to be asked about him, and I think they want Joshua to be a lot more prepared when he hopefully gets to that stage. So guys who he's just going to knock out in 2 or 3 rounds, I mean he's had a few of those, but he's still early in his pro career, and I think Kevin Johnson's fine. I mean, should he get through him, I'm sure they'll look to get him out at least 3 more times to the end of the year at least. So and hopefully one of them will be against a guy who's known for not being stopped.
We've got he's fighting TBA on the 4th of April. I think that's the Newcastle card, isn't it? And he hasn't fought since knocking out Sprott. That was on the Bellew Clev undercard. So he's been out for quite a long time. That's 5 months. So I think he needs to be getting out there. Obviously, he had an apparent back injury, and he's been slowly getting over that. But just getting back in, what they were doing with him was right. Putting him in lots of fights very frequently, every month, every sort of 6 weeks, maybe every other month, and keep doing that if he's not going to be stepping up his opposition. Kevin Johnson isn't a step up in terms of, his ability necessarily. It's just a step up, a test of his power. No one expects Safety Pin to actually beat Joshua. It's just something to build rounds. So, see it as a sparring session. See that as the reason, to get him back into fighting fit shape, as it were. So get that and then get him back out a couple of times, maybe a couple of duds and then a couple of good ones. Apparently he's good enough to beat Fury and Price and Dillian White, so fucking stick him in with them.
Yeah. Dave, Paul's asking, is Khan actually waiting on next week to decide what he's going to do? Well, obviously he's talking about the Brook fight against Jojo Dan. He's done fuck all for weeks regarding announcing the fight.
I think he really wants that Broner fight. I think he sees that as a fight that could keep him relevant while Pacquiao and Mayweather are fighting, and 2, really set up the fight against the winner of that, who he probably believes is going to be Mayweather, like the majority believe. Wait, does that count as talking about the fight? But whatever. So yeah, I think he wants the winner of that, and he's trying to. He saw Maidana beat Broner and get the Floyd fight. He's thinking maybe he can do the same thing.
And Paco's asking, what are Khan's serious options, seeing as though he's a pussy and won't fight Brook? If Cloner, what weight would it be at? Well, do you really want to drag Cloner up another 7 pounds when the fact is that he's shit at welterweight? He hasn't really shown the same spite and snap as he had at lightweight at 140 pounds. You're not going to see Khan coming back down on weight again. Of
course we want to. Who cares about Broner? If he gets thrashed, it's good for everybody.
Yeah.
Except for his mom and dad.
Kurt Titchler's asking, how many times will Kell Brook versus the winner of Fighter A, Fighter B at Wembley be mentioned in Sky's coverage next Saturday?
Well, even before then, we're going to get it on ringside. We're going to get Glenn McCrory telling us that Kell
Brook's the best welterweight
in the world. Yeah, it's going to be rammed down a price. This is the problem that many people have. It's like I said earlier about the Cleverly Brown fight. That fight's fine, but it's the bullshit that they keep ramming down your throat. And just say it for what it is. Kell Brook, he's not going to get a Mayweather Pacquiao fight anytime soon. He can't even get a Amir Khan fight right now. Let's be real. He can't even get that fight. So he just needs to carry on doing what he's doing. He's just had a, many thought he wouldn't even box again after what happened to him last year. He proved a lot of people wrong by going to the States and winning his title. So let's see how he looks at his first fight back, which he's not going to be a walkover. Jojo Dan's a completely fine opponent for the first defence. If you think of some guys' opponents for their mandatories or their first defences, they've been absolutely terrible. And this guy, and added to the fact of him coming off a serious injury, that's a fine opponent. If he looks good against Jojo Dan, then hopefully they can make the Khan fight. I think Khan is definitely waiting to see what happens there, because he wants to see how Brook looks. If Brook looks great, I think they'll try and make that fight, because unless Khan is close to announcing a fight with someone else, which no one's really heard nothing. I know he said that he'll be announcing it soon, but that's just Khan just talking. I mean, I'd like to see the Tim Bradley fight. I think that'd be a great fight. That should have happened a few years ago, but it's still relevant now, I think, and that'd be a great fight to see where both guys are at and who's the best out of those two. Because for a while people said that Khan wouldn't beat Bradley, but now I think people look at it a bit differently and look at it as a much closer fight. And the Broner fight, you can, as Dave said, if he beats Broner, he saw what Maidana did. He got the fight. That's what he wants. He wants the Mayweather or Pacquiao payday. That's what he wants. And but hopefully, if none of them come off, that's what he's waiting for. Brook to win, and then surely that fight will happen. I'm pretty sure of that one.
Yeah, I think if the Bradley fight was to happen just now, I think I backed Bradley back in the day, but I think now, after seeing Bradley against Chavez, even though he beat Chavez, I still think that maybe Bradley's now hit the, he's just slightly past the peak, slightly. Still a decent operator, and he will be for a couple more years yet, but I just think he's past his prime now. Next question, Alex. This one is basically asking, says, why is the Brooks show taking so long to sell out? You got anything? Is this true? I've not really been up to speed with this one.
There's quite a lot of tickets left, apparently.
He's a world champion, though.
Oh yeah, he's world champion. He's coming back from a death-defying injury, a brutal attack that flashed in Spain. If you
You're breaking up again, Alex. Try again, mate.
No. Hello, any better?
No, that's not any good. Dave, you want to try and... Oh, Kurt, you want to try and take that one up, mate?
You don't want me to talk about how much I hate Brook?
Well, sure, on you go. I mean, Donnie would love you if you did that.
Well, see, I just think everyone, like almost everyone, is saying Khan's ducking Brook, and that Brook deserves this fight, and like it's the biggest fight out there. I don't disagree with some of those points. I mean, I think it is probably the biggest money fight out there for Khan. But personally, I've never liked Brook. I don't think he's earned this fight. He's done in the past 10 years the same amount of time Khan's been a pro. And what has he done? He has one win. His entire career is based on that Porter win. And to me, it was not a very impressive win, even though I think it was a close but clear decision for Brook. But I mean, he didn't go out of his way to impress. He didn't try to stop him. He didn't really look to cement that win in any way. I was not impressed with that. And then he goes out immediately after, when he's the biggest he could ever be in his career. He blows his momentum by getting himself sliced. Who knows what he was doing? The rumors were discussed on here by Alex and some others. So who knows what the deal was? But I mean,
I have to have that Tony Bellew t-shirt on somebody on Facebook.
I blame him for that. I mean, I hold that against him. I mean, he shouldn't have been partying out in Tenerife or wherever he was, like in 2 a.m, and just getting knifed. I mean, I feel like the odds of him just getting randomly attacked by somebody wielding a machete are kind of low. But so yeah, I mean, you can't blame Khan for Brook getting knifed and that fight being off. Now he has to take Dan as a comeback or whatever. You
should still take the fight though.
I believe the fight's going to happen eventually. I don't see a big rush for it, and even if it is a biased haterism, I mean, I'm enjoying Khan just making Brook wait for it. I mean, he was content to wait for the first 9 years of his career before stepping up. He avoided Bradley, avoided Alexander twice. Arguably, he was injured one of those times, but it's about he waited so long to step up. Khan's been in these fights. He's been at the top of the division for the last 5 years or so, mixing it up at least, even if he's been losing some of the fights. I think Khan has proved himself a lot more than Brook, and let's see Brook do something else before we make that fight.
Yeah, do something else.
Sorry,
I was just going to say, mate, I was going to bring in there anyways. You're just talking about, do something else. You could just see Eddie making that fight between Kell Brook and Frankie Gavin.
Oh, definitely. If
you could see it happening.
They're taking the IBF route. I think that's most clearly the plan. They're going to get rid of a couple of fences and hopefully they can, at that time, they can build Gavin against something, get them both on ringside, you know, have them swaying at each other. You know, that's, there you go, there's 30,000 tickets. So I'm just going to touch on the Cannon Book stuff. I think that obviously Cannon Heyman have got their own past straight, and it's over in America. They're out there going, they're obviously going to get Amir involved in a big fight over there. I think that's where his future's lying at the moment. The Hale Book fight's always going to be great to fall back on. Maybe if Amir picks a loss up over in the States again, he can come back here and the Hale Book fight's always, it's just going to be as big as, you know, it's like the Pacquiao Mayweather fight, isn't it? It doesn't matter how long we have to wait for it, it's still going to be big when it happens, isn't it?
Yeah, just for the record, for anyone who may have missed it, Gavin is with Hearn now, not Warren, so that is a very feasible matchup.
Yeah, Tommy didn't know that. Tommy didn't know that. Mr. Current Affairs.
I've been at the look. I've done it tonight as well. I've done it tonight as well with fucking Marco Hook.
And he's top 5 with the IBF, so
that's a joke.
It is.
Well, I actually think I don't think he lost the Windu fight, so there we go.
Next question comes in from Josh Burnell. Tommy, why is Marquez still a top 10 pound for pound? Who at 147 would he actually beat now, i.e. top contenders? He's slipping down that pound for pound list though.
Definitely.
Yeah, might be again.
Yeah, I think he's obviously still there because of the body of work he's got, but obviously he's picked up the loss to Tim Bradley, and he's come back there and he's beat Alvarado, but I'm not exactly sure. See, fighters like that can go old overnight. If you're, let's just say it's still the same Marquez that fought around the time as Fedchenko and beat Manny Pacquiao. You've got to see there's not many fighters at 147 can beat him, but the guys I would obviously pick over him. I'd pick Pacquiao over him, I'd pick Mayweather over him, I'd pick Cale Brook over him, I'd pick Amir Khan over him, I would pick Keith Thurman. But I don't really rate Marquez that. I don't really rate him as a weight anyway. I think he should fight for Susan a while. If he fight Pacquiao there, but anybody else, he should be at 140.
Next question comes in from Chad Hogan. He's asking if Gonzalez doesn't fight Inu in the next couple of years, will Andy spit his dummy out and call him Fighter C and Fighter D? Well, put it this way, we haven't been waiting 6 years for that fight yet, and I do think, you know, within the next couple of years that fight would probably happen. You know, it's not going to happen within the next year or so now because of Inu's injury by the looks of it, so give it a year or two and then see where we were at, but guaranteed, provided they don't move up in crazy weight and stuff like that, you know, they're running about the same weight. It's not going to take 6 years to make, hopefully, so.
I think Inu's actually going to be a base as well. I'm not sure Gonzalez will work much more, but I think Inu's a big kid, isn't he? And he's young. He's definitely going to move up on maybe a good 3 weights anyway.
So that's only £3 between 112 and 115, so we can wait and see what happens with that one.
Another thing with the Lordon is there's not as much money down there, and there's obviously not as much politics, so the fights are more like that, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, just now, I mean, the main or the big fights are happening just now, about the flyweight and stuff like that. So it's good to see. James Hilkson's asking. He's actually asking, what's the most British fighters to defend or challenge for a world title in a single year?
That's off the top of your head. That's impossible to.
Fuck yeah.
We need Glenn McCrory on the boxing expert.
Aye. Let me see. I mean, Frotch isn't fighting much just now. Quiggs, I mean, counting Quigg and McDonnell as world champions? No. Well, maybe think about that one and come back to it. Rocco's asking, Bradley is small, Dave, at 140 and 147. Why is he being linked with fighting at 155? Is he on the same diet as his wife? That's a shame.
I agree with that. I don't have no idea what diet he's on. He's usually ripped come fight night, but I don't like the idea of him moving up anymore. Because I mean he already can't punch much as it is. I mean, what's he gonna do at 154? You know, I know he fought at high weights in the amateurs. I know he like walks around at like 165, 168, but I think welter's safer for him.
Ben Shields is asking Kurt, who will Quigg move on to if Frampton doesn't sign by the deadline day? Hashtag Tesco Joe. What was the deadline again? Was it 2 weeks that Frampton's got to sign his contract before Quigg moves on to someone else?
I don't know, to be honest. I mean, I did hear that they wanted a certain time. I think it was around that time, but who if the fight doesn't happen, they'll probably just drag someone up from the weight below, won't they? Or bring some African fighter over we've never heard of who can probably take a punch, and he'll be on that level, yeah.
Um,
Is that what we think of Quigg's title reign, yeah?
I'll tell you one person who it won't beat, Roy Rondo.
I'll tell you what, we're going to get a lot of insults for this on that podcast. That should have been edited out. Terrible.
What was that? Well,
I reckon we're going to get some complaints after that. Terrible.
What? That noise? What was that noise?
And you put your mic to your arse, you haven't done that, didn't you?
It was what he thought of Scott Quigg. It's what he does.
Disgusting.
Next question comes in from Paul McAllister. Is Cleverly doing the right thing going down to light heavyweight? He looks so massive and bulky for the Bellew rematch. I think it's very risky just cutting all that muscle mass in a few months. I have a feeling it's going to go badly wrong. Well, we did say that after that Bellew fight. There was talk immediately after that Cleverly was thinking about moving back down to 175, and we were pretty clear. He's packed on something like 20 pounds of muscle. To take that off and still be effective at a lower weight, whilst meanwhile Frank Warren, do you remember a time when Frank Warren mentioned that he had made an offer to Carol Froch, so £1 million to make that fight? Warren says that fight wasn't feasible unless Cleverly came down to 168, and Warren said then, I think it was 2012, I think that was 2013, he says Cleverly would be struggling to make 175. This is now 2015 and he's already had 3 fights up at cruiserweight. I don't know, guys.
I don't think he was strong enough up at cruiserweight. I think that was evident in the Bailey fight. Just my thing.
I just think he's in a tough spot because at cruiserweight, let's be honest, against some of those guys, I mean, if he fought like he did against, he can't fight at cruiserweight, so he can't stay there because better guys than Tony Bellew will do damage to him. So if he carries on his career, because the gulf in weight is such a big gap here, he either fights at cruiserweight or he fights like heavyweight, so he's got to get back down. And the fact is, he saw his fellow Welshman and legend Enzo Macronelli do it, so why can't he?
I was never a fan of the cruiserweight division moving up from £190 to £200. I think there's too much of a gap between.
Yeah, I think it should be 190 myself.
Yeah, that was a classic division, wasn't it? £190. So £190 would probably maybe be Nathan Cleverly's ideal weight for rounding it at 185.
Yeah, see what you mean about that one. Just talking about catchweight fights and stuff like that. Sean Buckle's asking, does anyone see any real merit in catchweight fights? Maybe the odd fight where top guys from different divisions meet, but 2 champs from the same division fighting at a catchweight is ridiculous. Garcia and Peterson should be stripped. You agree with that one, Dave?
Yeah. I mean, this 143 shit, I don't know what's going on with that. I mean, is Heyman really trying to he's trying to bring in
the world PBC 143 pound catchweight championship for the world, motherfucker.
And I mean, Peterson should have been stripped after Lucas sparked his ass. I mean, what? He's still on his 3rd defense of the title, even though he's in between there. He's getting knocked the fuck out. It's ridiculous. I mean, who cares though? It's a paper title. Its only value is to ingratiate some interest among certain casuals who don't really know what a world title means. So, whatever.
You know what? I don't really care about catchweights as long as see there's a welterweight fight between light welterweight and welterweight. If it's 144, you know what pisses me off though? When they made that Matisse fight against Peterson at 140,
yeah.
That's fucked up, right? If you're going to make it between the weight class, fair enough so both fighters have got the same advantage to disadvantage. But 141, that was...
So that is a disgrace. I mean, listen, I've got no problem with a guy who holds a version of the world title. And if he wants to move up in weight, have a keep busy fight, then I've no problem having a fight over the weight, maybe like 143 or 144 or whatever. They did that back in the old days. Henry Armstrong and all those guys did that. But when you come back down, you got to come back down and weight and defend your fucking title. That's that is the be all and end all at the end of the day.
I mean, this is a good fight. They could just say, you know what, I'm struggling to make weight. This is Garcia. He's doing his own Danny Green, Danny weight. You know, I want to weigh in whatever I want. And I could say, I'm vacating my titles, let other guys fight for it. No one would have a problem. But when they're doing what Cotto's doing, holding the titles hostage, and still being allowed to fight and you know, keep these bouts. If Garcia says he can't make 140, then we'll vacate the titles and fight, you know, at 143. Then we'll just move up to welterweight. I think catchweights are fine. It's when you see a guy. It's when it's a fair catchweight. You know, when you want a guy's, you know, got a weight advantage and it makes the fight, you know, happen, a catchweight, then, you know, we don't mind it. But when you think it's unfairly done, you see a guy either drained badly or, you know, like Chad Dawson, for instance. I mean, I like the way he fought Andre Ward. I know that he was the one who put it out there, you know, but that was because he wanted the fight. He believed that, you know, he could beat Ward, and a win over Ward would, you know, propel his career. And, you know, he had to sacrifice to make that fight, and that's when I don't like it. I mean, Ward did what he did. You know, Dawson was the idiot for putting that out there, but that's when I don't like them, when a guy has a massive advantage in the catchweight. When it's a fairer catchweight, I don't see a problem with it.
Next question comes in from Robert Johnson. Why is everybody ducking Amir Khan according to himself and Sam Watson? Because he's fucking deluded. Christoph Ivan's asking, what do you guys think Khan's reasonings are for not fighting Brook? Surely that's the biggest fight and payday out there for him.
Kind of went over that already. I think that it's just my opinion. I think he's happy to make Brook wait, and that he wants the Broner fight.
Just to let Aisha know, we're not the guys loving talking about Khan. These are listeners letting in these questions, hence so that's the reason why we're talking about it. Rocco's got quite a few lengthy questions in here. First one, I'll just let the three of you chime in on this one. What is the biggest fight Eddie Hearn has made between two fighters in his stable? Forget Good John, etc. Fielding, Callum and Paul Smith. He seems hesitant in matching them. He's only talking about Warrington chasing another belt rather than Selby's if he wins it, although that could be due to crowd trouble. With a stable as big as Matchrooms, I'm surprised he hasn't had to make more in-house fights.
Well, Groves wasn't with him, was he?
No, I think he left. I think he had some sort of contract and left after the first Roach fight, I think.
And they probably have to see Bailey play, haven't they? I can't think of it. He's really pushing Ricky Burns. Well, he was really pushing that agenda at one point to fight domestic level. Obviously, Crawler, and we also has got Murray. We could have got Murray in as well at some point. Mitchell rematch possibly.
I don't follow the British boxing business scene very closely, but Rocco's got a good point there. I mean, he's almost like the English Al Heyman in that he doesn't like matching good guys in-house against other guys in-house, and then when he does, it's a huge event. But, you know, he usually is able to find some stiffs outside for him. What's the advantage?
That's a funny comment, actually. Martin Hurry's asking, what is the best round of boxing ever? Round 9, Ward versus Gatti for me. I tell you what, that last round with Larry Holmes and, what do you call him? Ken Norton. Was it Ken Norton?
Yes.
Round 15, that was a fucking great round, that.
Hagler Hearns.
First round, yeah.
Holyfield,
That was a great first round as well. Ben Barkley.
Yeah.
First round, aye.
Yeah, put him down about 3 times. Ben was hurt all over and around. Probably the best one-round fight.
Ben clubbed him with his feet tension was down too, didn't he?
Ben would have walked through a fucking army that day, actually. It's the mood he was in.
My favourite round of all time is Holyfield War round 10. That's my favourite trilogy as well. The heavyweight trilogy with War and Holyfield.
Alex is actually away rebooting his router, and he's not reappeared back on the show yet. I was going to give him this question. I was really thinking they went to town with it, but Tim Rhodes, was Prince Patel stitched up by Kugan Cassius? Should he have exercised more editorial control with a young fighter early in his career? This is obviously relating to now the news has come out that Prince Patel, after stating how big he was and he's his purple-headed Wombdagger was a certain length and stuff. He's now been released from his promotional contract from Steve Goodwin, which basically, I think he claimed something along the lines of family agendas, or I can't remember anyway, but he's been bombed out of his career. Coogan Cassius, he could have maybe exercised some control, but at the end of the day as well, he's never misquoting the guy, was he?
I mean, I said it last week that I thought Coogan should have just ended the interview because he's just giving the prick airtime. But you know, Coogan's getting views out of it, he's getting people talking about it, so you can understand why he didn't. I mean, I just got to say about, is it Steve Goodwin, the guy who's dropped Patel?
Yeah.
Isn't this the same guy that promoted Larry Olabamiwo after he's banned for about 25,000 substances? Now, let's get it right now. I think Prince Patel, or Dick Patel as I call him, he's an absolute moron. He's just an idiot. And I want to see his chin get checked hard. But he's just talking himself up. He's not doing anything that someone like an Adrian Broner does, a Prince Nazim would do. It's something, you know, he's just talking a lot of shit to get noticed, and it's worked for him. But is that any worse than someone who has admitted taking God knows how many illegal substances and could potentially kill someone in the ring? I mean, to me, you know, all this, we've dropped him for, you know, because we have, you know, we're a family-run business and all this bollocks. That's rubbish. I reckon it's something more like Frank Warren's offered him money to take him off his hands, and we'll see him sign it, and he's just done it to save face.
I don't think you should really do Coogan for what he's done. He gave the guy an interview, the guy's responded, and Coogan just put it, that's his job.
Look what's happened to Lou DiBella.
I wouldn't have, if that had been your interview, I wouldn't have edited it.
Yeah.
Wouldn't bang that right with it. They would have laughed at him. They'd have probably laughed at him during the interview too, wouldn't they?
I think people with that, I mean, I don't like the little shit. I saw his interview. I can't imagine that kind of ego developing after one professional win. But I think that guy is valuable especially to a promoter like Frank Warren, who's like really fading in the sport right now, losing people left and right. I think that he can make a fair amount of money on this guy. Put him in with a whole bunch of complete bums. Promote him as the heel. I mean, it's like Broner, you know. You can make a lot of money on him if you match him right.
Exactly, and don't forget Warren's also got the brilliantly named Romeo Romeo, who's also an absolute knobhead. And, you know, with these kind of guys, he can put them on the card, and people will just go and watch them just to hate them. As Dave said, you know, they can play the heel characters. They're not going to be liked by anyone. But if they put in performances in the ring and back up what they're saying, people, you know, even if they don't like them, they'll come to respect them. And that's the problem with Patel right now. He's talking a lot, but we haven't really seen much of him, obviously, because he's just starting out. But if he can get with Warren or someone, and we see him on TV, you know, people could, you know, start to like what he does. But he's got to show it in the ring. But Goodwin dropping him over that, I just think he's rubbish. I mean, I just think that's not the real reason at all.
Now, boxing tip advice is sent in a lengthy question. I think we did cover it slightly as well. I think we did cover it. He's just basically asking about, you know, are we concerned for Cleverly? He was struggling to make 175 when he fought Kovalev, or that was according to Cleverly anyway, and then put on probably a stone of muscle to fight at 200 pounds. He surely is going to struggle even more. Well, we did touch on that. I really think is, you know, he's made that move up. He's going to strip that 20 odd pound of muscle back off as well. So it is going to be a bit of a concern. But Rocco's got another lengthy question in here. Will Barcelona go 2-1 up? Rocco's asking, why does Frank Warren seem keen to feed Billy Joe Saunders to Eubank, even though Billy Joe is his fighter and Eubank isn't? Popular opinion is that Eubank would win a rematch between them. Well, that's what the bookies think anyway. The stable is poor as it is, but why put Billy Joe Saunders in the Eubank again, especially if he wins the belt of Lee or Quillen? It's as if the result of the first fight didn't go as he wanted. Seems strange for Frank Warren.
It's a good question. I can see what he means, but I see similarities with Tyson Fury. You know, technically Fury is not Warren's fighter, but it's like Warren is taking over the show. In, you know, Hennessy, if you look at the weigh-ins, Hennessy's in the background and Warren's out front. I think he sees more upside in Chris Eubank Jr. Maybe he didn't know how good he was beforehand, and he saw what he did in the Billy Joe fight, and he saw what he did against Shudenov. Obviously, he's the personality, the dad he's got with him, you know, and he's got the ability as well. And Billy Joe Saunders maybe just looks at him and thinks, he's not as good as I thought. Maybe he can't get much further than where he's at, but Eubank can. So if he can like work with him and get in more promotional, close with him, and that's what he's maybe looking at. I mean, I don't know, but maybe just sees, or it could just be simple fact that he doesn't think Billy Joe will get the Quillen fight, or they'll mess him around, and that he sees it a domestic fight that can make money again, and the winner of it can go on again, and the loser can still float around that European level scene for a bit.
You've got to remember Frank's also the broadcaster too, isn't he? So it's in his interest to have the guys who put the numbers on the board there, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Billy Joe against Peter Quillen at 5 a.m. in the morning in New York, or Billy Joe and Eubank on prime time in the rematch. I reckon that could be the simple fact of what he's looking at.
A couple more questions before we move on to discussion. I want to have a chat about some of our divisional rankings actually. So while we're speaking here, if you just try and get the divisional rankings up, I'll stick it in the Skype chat for these. But the second to last question comes in from Michael Hedrick. Tommy, it's 10 years since Hopkins-Taylor. Had Hopkins not lost 2 questionable defeats, who in the last 10 years would have beaten him? Message continued at middleweight. How many title defences would he have reached?
I think Hopkins was done at the weight when also Taylor he didn't look ashamed. I thought actually at that point I thought Bernard's legs had actually gone. He didn't seem to be losing them. He could only fight sporadically for maybe 6 rounds of the fight. I think that's why he jumped up his weight class. I think had I looked at the decisions, I don't think he would have stuck around at the weight much longer.
He was basically a light heavyweight who was boiling down anyway, wasn't he? I mean, he made his debut at light heavy, so it's amazing he stayed there as long as he did. I mean, obviously he's extremely dedicated, he trains hard and stuff, but I think it was getting close to the point where he was really struggling, and the loss, obviously, as it does with a lot of fighters, they just think, they blame the loss on they blame the weight because of the loss, and that was his signal to go up, and he probably wanted to do it a few fights earlier, but maybe he had a few soft defences as well. But
plus Sir Joe was above him, so that was never going to go up that high, was he? Joe scary, Sir Joe.
Final question, I'll go to you, Kurt. Lee Davis, if Quigg beat Frampton on ITV, would it make him versus either Rigo or Santa Cruz a pay-per-view fight?
No ITV, wouldn't it?
If Quigg, I mean, I don't know about a pay-per-view fight because they've still got a Sal, a Rigondeaux or a Santa Cruz. I mean, I think the pay-per-view fight is between Quigg and Frampton myself, but it'll obviously get Quigg known. I mean, Quigg's just not a big ticket seller. He's not that known, despite him being on these Sky cards. He's not someone who a lot of people recognise, and I don't think they've done a real good job of him in that sense. Hearn has done a great job with other fighters, but I just think Quigg, he's missed the boat with him, and obviously if he did fight on ITV and beat Frampton, he'd do his star power the world of good, but I'm still not sure that's gonna make him a pay-per-view fighter. I can never see it with Quigg, to be honest.
No.
To be fair to Hearn, though, I mean, Quigg's kind of a hard guy to promote. I mean, he's not really that good. He's gotten lucky on the cards multiple times, and I mean, the guy has no charisma. I mean, when that interview after Frampton's last fight, I saw people tweeting is this guy mentally disabled?
Yeah, he doesn't seem to like being in front of the camera or talking. That's the thing, and like you said, he's a hard sell. I mean, when you got obviously you got fighters who love talking, and I think Quigg, he's tough for him, and I mean, you can say the same about Carl Froch. I mean, Carl Froch he says a lot of stupid stuff, and he's not known as talking great in front of cameras either. But the difference to him, he's had the opponents, and he could back it up in the ring. And I think Quigg needs big fights to make himself more known, because at the moment, especially with the bullshit bout that he's got, he hasn't got a lot of respect from the fans at the moment.
Well, Sir Cobra obviously has the heel thing going for him too. I mean, at least as far as you guys go, I always root for him, but you guys have half the country seems to hate him.
Because he's a knob.
And you guys tuned in to see the Groves fight because you hoped he got knocked out. So.
Yeah, but didn't pay for it though.
Well, of Not you guys, but some people did.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, Kurt, you want to do Belly of the Week this week? I mean, we're kind of thin on the ground for nominations.
We can move them over to next week as well.
Yeah.
And have a stacked Eddie Hearn week.
Yeah, probs. Well, moving on then. Listen, I want to have a quick chat with you about the world rankings and stuff, and then we'll close off. Just be reading out what our fight schedule is. Shorter show this week by the looks of it. I'll maybe get back in time to watch the last 20 minutes or so, 30 minutes of the Barcelona Real Madrid game. But the heavyweight rankings, guys, you know I do my best to try and keep everyone happy, try and keep these rankings up to date, etc. Now, obviously, at present, when I posted these up at the start of March, we've had some movement. For instance, Glasgow beat Steve Cunningham, for instance. But the top 10 I've got as follows. I just want to get your take on it at heavyweight. Obviously, 1, Vladimir Klitschko. 2, Alexander Povetkin. 3, Deontay Wilder. 4, Tyson Fury. 5, Kubrat Pulev. 6, Bermane Stiverne. 7, Bryant Jennings. 8, Glasgow. 9, Tony Thompson. And 10, Mike Perez. Now, guys, give me your take. Any swaps or anybody there that's been glaringly missed out in that list?
I think...
I thought you were great. You were great up with there, Andy. I couldn't really hear your rankings.
I posted them up anywhere there, mate.
Well, I've been over this with you before.
Yeah.
About the lack of Carlos Takam in there. I think he should be in the top 10. I mean, he's beat Tony Thompson, and I think he was beating... It was a close fight, but I think he was beating Povetkin until he got laid out. So I think you put him in there maybe somewhere around 8. I think he's much better than Glasgow. I think he's well, not much better, but definitely better. And I think he beat Perez too, although they got the draw in that fight. Also, I don't know. I put Stiverne over Pulev. I think he's better. Pulev has turned out to be kind of a bust, in my opinion. It's just, I mean, the way he was hit with.
And he couldn't take him out. I mean, I think the Mike Perez fight. I think there was
He dominated Thompson, though.
He did dominate Thompson, but at the same time, as Thompson's a spoiler, and Takam, he's carrying a lot of bulk around about with him. I felt he did tired in that fight. I need to try and get hold of the scorecards for the Povetkin fight, but I think we stated at the time that Povetkin was really the best they've ever seen him against Takam in that fight.
He did look quite good. I mean, he looked very powerful. I thought Povetkin looked better against Wok, but I mean, I was impressed that he pulled it out because I thought Takam was going to go home with well, not really. I thought he was going to get robbed, but I thought he was going to go away from that fight looking pretty good.
I think Dave's criticism of Pulev is a bit harsh, to be honest. I mean, if you look at the two guys, one faced the legit guy at the weight. Another guy faced a guy who many thought was going to be exposed by him. Pulev, yeah, he got stuck, but the reason he got stuck and got caught with big hard shots was because he actually tried to win, which a lot of these guys, they just stand in front of Vlad and just cover up. Pulev tried to win. I mean, Stiverne was just a fat mess who just looked like he hadn't trained. I mean, so I think Pulev deserves to be above him, to be honest. I think if Pulev was in with Deontay Wilder, whether you think he'd win or not, he'd give a much better effort than Stiverne did.
Last I saw, you were calling him Pulev, Poolev.
I think you're mixing me up. I refer to him as the real Cobra.
Oh, okay.
Bulgarian Tyson.
But yeah, I think the heavyweight division is a tough division to rank, to be honest. I don't think you're never going to please everyone with it because a lot of the guys, they're not fighting the best guys because they want to get title shots. They avoid certain guys for a while, and then a guy does get the title shot, he loses, say like Pulev, and then you think, oh, you got to put him down. So I think they are tough to rank that division.
I'd be more inclined to put Ruslan Shagayev instead of Takam, to be honest. What do you think about that?
Did you just say Ruslan Shagayev?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God.
The White Tyson. He should be the White Tyson.
Yep.
I hope Wilder.
Just a recent one against Aquin, though. I haven't actually seen that fight. I don't know if it's controversial or no, but
he's fighting
I
Lucas
think
Brown as well.
Yeah.
Put the green belt as lineal champion. Deontay Wilder. He's the new man at heavy, to be honest.
Moving into light heavyweight, this might generate a wee bit of dispute actually, but obviously this is the list I've got as follows at the start of March: Adonis Stevenson, Sergey Kovalev, Bernard Hopkins, Jurgen Bremer, Jean Pascal, Andres Fonfara, Isaac Shalemba, Gabriel Campillo, Elda Alvarez, and 10 Artur Beterbiev. Now obviously you're going to pick up on one fact at the top of that list, but ultimately what do you think about the light heavyweight list?
Jurgen Bremer's too low, number 4.
What, number 1?
Number 1.
I think it's a solid list, and I think Bremer should be lower just because I've never been impressed with how he hides out in Germany and fights like once a year.
Well, Hopkins, he hides out in fucking Philadelphia all the time, the motherfucker. He never fights abroad.
Hopkins is 50 years old.
So?
Hopkins was willing to go to the UK to fight the Calzaghe rematch, and Slappy Joe ducked it.
Pash. I mean, I really thought one of these would have picked up on the fact that Stevenson's still ranked number 1 and Kovalev number 2.
Well, but we've had that argument before. It's still going on.
I think you've got to keep him as a lineal champion.
I mean, I don't buy it that he's number 1. Kovalev's number 1, but whatever.
Everybody knows Kovalev's the best in the division, but as it stands, it's the same at middleweight, isn't it? You've got Kovalev's the lineal champion. Everybody knows Gennady Golovkin's the best fighter there.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, Hopkins went to Canada when he took John Pascal's soul.
Fuck Hopkins.
Yeah, and the thing is, I think you still need to give Stevenson a chance. I mean, after he beat Speaker, they could make the Kovalev fight, or he could fight someone else who's highly ranked, like a Hopkins or a John Pascal. Yeah, right now I think most people would say that Kovalev is the best in the world, but he did beat the man who beat the man, and you can't keep him there forever if he's fighting lower guys like the guys who he's fighting. But I still think give him a chance after. See who he fights after Beaker, and then I think you could lower him to and put Kovalev ahead. I mean, it's only so long he can dine out on the Chad Dawson win, to be honest.
Moving down to middleweight now, this might bring us into our last topic of conversation, which was going to be Miguel Cotto. Middleweight, we've got Miguel Cotto as lineal champion, 2 Golovkin, Andy Lee, Peter Fake Chocolate Quillen, Hassan Nandam Najikam, Sergio Martinez, Daniel Gill, Martin Murray, Sam Solomon, Billy Joe Saunders. Where's
Jermaine Taylor? He should be at number 2.
He's in prison, isn't he?
Jail, yeah, he's in the house.
He's in the fucking asylum.
Yeah. He's playing with abacus and counting fucking knocks.
I just think it just shows you how weak that division is, the middleweight division. I mean, it's slim pickings, and that's why you look at Golovkin and think who can he fight really that's going to get him to where he wants to go. I mean, he's surely going to have to move up because the guys there. I mean, the rankings. I don't see anyone else you can really put in there, to be honest, and say, he should be not there. I mean, even Sergio Martinez, he's probably going to be retired, so he'll probably have to be out soon. But Cotto again, he's another one. He beat the guy, and we got to give him credit. Not many of us thought that, even if you thought that if Martinez was injured, I don't think anyone expected him to beat him up the way he did, but he can only dine on that for so long, and he should either, fight the best guys at the weight, or just dump the bout and go back down to like middleweight. I mean, he obviously wants the Canelo fight, so just go down there and leave. Then Golovkin will be known as the guy, and that's the way it should be if you're not going to fight him.
K9 Bundridge soon to be lineal.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ, 1-5, is it 155, 156? That fight's been muted to be taking place at. I mean, Cotto, go fuck yourself, man. I mean, we're serious with this shit. You do not want to take this fight. I mean, it's just absolute pointless fucking fight. I mean, you fight a 40-year-old man, for Christ's sake. It might even be older than that, actually.
I'd give him a good chance. I'd give Bundridge a good chance in that fight too, actually. But
he get fucking killed in this Cotto, man. Cotto destroy him. Different level.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, is he even the middleweight champion though? Because he beat Sergio at 150. He beat him at 159. Does that count? I thought you guys were purists here.
Yeah, middleweight is 155 to 160. It doesn't matter what weight the fights are. He's a champion. Fuck the belt.
No, but he didn't allow Sergio to weigh in at 160.
Doesn't matter. He's fucking fought him at the one.
I don't think it had.
So listen, right. So every time there's a fight below one, like see below 160, what about when Hopkins has fought De La Hoya and that, you know?
I don't
Is
think
she world champion? Does you know?
I don't think it had any effect on the fight, but I don't think.
You're just being silly, mate. You're just being silly.
I don't think a championship belt should be fought at a catchweight.
So unless every title was won at the maximum amount, they don't count.
It doesn't. They don't. Both guys don't have to weigh in at that, but I think it should be allowed.
Come on.
They should have allowed. It should be up to 160. Yeah.
Sergio didn't hate to sign the club. I'm not Cosmos fan. Sergio didn't have to sign the club. Sergio's doing a middleweight either, is he? He's fucking a light middleweight too.
No, yeah. That
was a fucking light middleweight against a welterweight that fight. I didn't.
Yeah, but if you want to use that, like the logic of that, I mean, I remember when Pacquiao smashed up Cotto and the fight was 145, wasn't it? And I remember Cotto fans saying afterwards, "Oh, it's not fair, he drained him." But those same Cotto fans, they wouldn't say the same now, you know, when that fight happened. But I think, you know, what's £1 or £2, when it's something obvious like a Chad Dawson, when he's killing himself to make. But I think, yeah, fair enough. But you know, I'm no big fan of Martinez, and you know, I don't care about Cotto either. But I think in those two instances, when he fought Pacquiao and when Martinez fought Cotto, the weight had nothing to do with it, and they had no problem making the weight, in my opinion. So I don't see how that can. I mean, we could say, yeah, he smashed up Martinez, but he's not the middleweight champion because he didn't weigh a pound more. I mean, it just makes, you know, I don't think it makes a difference, to be honest. But that's my opinion.
I just think that the lineal belt should be on the line. I mean, I don't think it made a difference at all to the fight, but it just seems like the belt should only be on the line if it's actually at the weight.
Well, the thing is, Henry Armstrong's won the welterweight title weighing 135 pounds, you know, as a lightweight.
Yeah, but I mean, his opponent was allowed to weigh in at whatever he wanted.
Yeah.
So was Sergio Martinez. He just had to pay a financial penalty. There was nothing saying that Sergio Martinez couldn't weigh in 160 pounds.
And you got to look at it like this. Well, let's just say Golovkin and Ward agreed to fight, and it was a 166 catchweight, and Golovkin bashed him up and shocked the world. Would anyone seriously be saying, it's a great win, but he shouldn't be known as the guy at the weight because Ward had to weigh £2 less? I mean, the catchweight, if they both agreed to it, and Martinez, you know, he got bashed up. He could have weighed in whatever he wanted. The fact is, Martinez cheated the fans that night. He knew he was injured. I don't care what Lou DiBella said. He knew he was injured going into that fight. He wanted the money. He probably thought that he could catch Cotto with a punch coming in and hurt him. But he knew his legs were gone, and he cheated the fans. So I don't care about him and what happened to him in that fight.
Well, I'm just talking about the title, but I mean, with your reference to Ward and Golovkin, is Ward even the man at the weight anymore? I mean, wasn't he stripped?
Yeah.
So, I mean, according to Andy's rankings...
He's stripped by the Ring Magazine, but at the end of the day, Ring Magazine don't decide who the lineal champion is. Audrey Ward is the lineal champion at 168 pounds.
Well, he's not on Andy's list.
That's Andy's opinion, but in my opinion, until he's beaten, he's the man. You know?
Yeah, see, the thing is, you know, I get that. I mean, like, you could go back and argue the fact is, you know, Darius Michalczewski was the lineal champion up at light heavyweight because, you know, the Roy Jones fight never happened. And the other thing as well is Zol Erdai. Who did he beat again? And he was classed as a lineal champion for years.
He beat Gonzalez, who beat Michalczewski.
That's the one. So, you know, and then the lineage, he's trying to get this right. I mean, I think the lineage ended with when Kozagi retired, and then how did it start back up again? I'm trying to remember.
Pascal against Dawson?
Was it the top two guys in the division, I think it was at that time. So
is it fair to completely remove Korobov from the middleweight rankings, even though, I mean, he was beating Lee, it was a close fight, but he was beating Lee a little bit, and... I
haven't got him listed. He's not listed on the list.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You have him removed. I mean, I don't know, I'd argue he's better than Saunders and Solomon.
Finally, the last division I want to touch upon, I mean, obviously there's like what, 17 divisions or whatever it is, 19 divisions that we're not going to cover all of them today, but we'll cover this last one and then we'll call it a night. But the featherweight division, now, Johnny Gonzalez, Nicholas Walters, Yevgeny Gradovich, Vasily Lomachenko, Nonito Donaire still ranked until his super bantamweight fight coming up in a couple of weeks, Abner Mares, I think he maybe need to get removed after I think he's been fighting up at 130 there recently. Simply Vatyeka, Lee Selby, Satoshi Hosono, and Christian Miyares. Now, Tommy, I know you're a fan of Miyares, so you'll be happy to know he's still ranked in the top 10. You think maybe the top two are interchangeable in that division? You know, Gonzalez and Walters?
I personally, I'd put Walters at number one, but I know why you've got Johnny Gonzalez here, and I don't really have an argument here, but I think they two have got to be 1 and 2. Just for me, I think Nonito Dorea was a better fighter than Abner Mares, and that's my personal opinion. That's why I have Walters here, but they are interchangeable. You're right there.
It wasn't that long ago that Sir Ponce de Leon knocked out Johnny Gonzalez, was it?
That was a few years ago, though. That was a few years ago.
Johnny's never been the toughest fighter, has he?
Nah, I think his chin's always been slightly suspect, but still a good fighter. I really do think that, you know, maybe he's slightly living off that Abner Mares fight. I mean, okay, Mares was coming up weight, he was iced in one round, but the momentum's slightly been lagging slightly with Gonzalez. I know he's fighting next week against Gary. Is it next week? I think the fight is. I think it is next week.
His career really stagnated. He should have really achieved a lot more after being Fernando Montiel, and obviously the Israel Vasquez war. He was tipped to the top of the sport, but it never really happened for him, did it? The Penaloza was a big shocking.
Kurt, what do you think, mate?
Yeah, I'd probably put Walters number one myself. I mean, he's come from nowhere and he's had, you know, the domination over Darchininu, who gave Donaire he's beaten Donaire until he got stopped. And then the way he just, you know, smashed Donaire, I know people could say, you know, he's past it, and he never looked the same after Rigendale. But, to knock him out like he did, you know, that's impressive. I know, and same as Gonzalez, I mean, that one round shocking win over Mares was excellent, but he hasn't done much since. I mean, he's got this Gary Russell Jr. fight, which I think is a really good fight. And if he beats Russell Jr., then I think he could stay there. No point in changing it until after that fight, I'd say.
He's not going to beat Russell Jr. I don't see it. I think he's going to get schooled.
I don't think he'll beat him either, unless
I think Russell beat him as well,
yeah. Other than that, guys, it is a very, very quiet week, in all honesty. I really don't know what you're going to be discussing next week. Obviously, we'll have some more fights to discuss next week. We've got Kell Brook back in action. Got a decent wee fight, domestic fight coming from the UK next Friday. Is it Oval Mackenzie against Matty Askin? I think that might be a decent enough piece of crap. I think Mackenzie might blast him out. Johnny Gonzalez, Gary Russell, Jermel Charlo against Vanes Martirosyan, Jermall Charlo's also in that card in the 8-rounder against Michael Finney, sorry. And I also think Donny Nietes defends his ring light flyweight title against Gilberto Parra of Mexico. Next week, Steve Williams will be in the hot seat. I'd like to thank the panel today: Tommy Allen, Kurt Ward, and David Loback jumping in there. We've lost Alex through technical difficulties. Steve Williams will be hosting next week. He's under strict instructions, guys. Hopefully you follow the rules and you don't bend the public pressure. I've been your host, Andy Patterson. Just to let you know, is the Thursday preview show, Midweek Madness with Matty D, should be back in Thursday. Hopefully Dave Loback will be there, Donny Baseball, and a few other Americans. I've been your host, Andy Patterson, and I'll see you in a fortnight's time. All the best.